Folks, we have the concierge of small business loans, Mr. Bo Eckstein, with us today. On my channel, we talk about the 10-year treasury, down again today. We talk about mortgage rates, likely down. But something we don't talk a lot about, and we probably should, is something called the prime rate. The prime rate is important to you if you have credit card debt. It is important to you if you are getting a small business loan. So let's talk about it, what we think might be going on over the next couple of years with the prime rate. How you doing, Bo?
I'm doing well. Yeah, this is a timely discussion, right? Everybody charged up a bunch of credit in the last couple of months, especially during the holiday time. And SBA loans are obviously, if you're tied to 7A, you're tied to prime, and your rates went from prime was at 4.25 in March of 2020, and now it's at 8.5. So your prime on an SBA loan, your prime plus a margins
Right.
can be as high depending on the loan amount, but if it's over 300,000, essentially it can be as high as 2.75.
Woof.
So we got people in the 11s on SBA debt, and there's a lot of, I think we're at an all-time high in credit card debt right now, right? Is that
We
kind
are,
of
yeah,
what you're
over
saying?
$1 trillion. Yeah, absolutely.
So if I'm not mistaken, I'm not an expert in Wall Street Journal Prime, but basically it's what the banks lend at, and the top 10 banks set the
Mhm,
rate, right? Essentially.
mhm. Essentially, yeah. Yeah. Again, when we talk about rates and you're in the finance world, a lot of folks worry about the 10-year. It's the largest, the most liquid. A lot of people talk mortgage. I'm in real estate. But the prime rate is used by a lot more vehicles. And, understanding what moves the prime rate um, is important. And when I think about the prime rate and it moving, it really is, to me, it's a confidence thing. How confident are the banks about the future, right? Because again, think about the prime rate is the base for credit cards, right? If you guys don't know this, banks bake in a certain percentage of bad debt, meaning, they're going to have to write them off because the person doesn't pay. If the banks are getting concerned, they will increase the prime rate and they will increase the reserve for bad debt. If we went from a low of 4.25 in 2020 to 8.5 or 9 now, that's a doubling. Um, I think it's interesting to look at the prime rate in 24 and 25 because it's not directly impacted by Fed rate decisions. It is far more about how confident or risk averse the banks are. And it's the biggest of big banks. To your point, it's like the top 10 or something that kind of set this. And near as I can tell, again, this is my crystal ball is as broken as everybody else's. I don't know that the banks are in a position to really lower that much. Certainly in the first half of 2024, I think there is a belief that there's a short and shallow recession coming. I think there's a general belief in Q1 that unemployment will go up. Um, so I think you've seen banks move aggressively, taking the prime rate higher because they're trying to protect themselves. And I don't see that changing in the short term. Could it change in the second half of next year? Absolutely. If we continue to grow with a decent GDP, unemployment stays below 4.2, and the soft landing gets stuck, and we're seeing more capital investments, and we're seeing all of that, I think prime rate could come in, but I think that's a Q3, Q4 thing. It's just off the cuff.
Yeah, it's crazy times right now. And what's interesting is, like, we were supposed to be in a recession, right? Like a year ago. And it's like,
Right?
are we
Never
going
showed up.
into it? Are we going into a recession? Are we not? Like, I don't, with all the wars going on too, I think there's just more and more stuff going on right now. So it's crazy. I was just watching, I don't know if you follow Patrick Bet David.
I
You
do.
should,
Yep.
yeah. I was watching one of his podcasts, and he was just talking about just the uncertainty of 2024. But
Mhm.
uncertainty is when monies can be made from the people
Oh
that are
yeah.
aware of what's going on. So I'm excited for 2024. I just don't know what's going on completely with this, but we can help people refinance their SBA loans, which is a plus. So you can go from prime plus 275 down to prime plus 1, and you
Mhm.
can go into a fixed rate option,
Mm.
fixed for 5 years, although rates may come down. So you'd be at 9.5 and you'd be hedging that.
Yep.
Or we have a program on it floats 90-day float variable rate, but it's prime plus 1.25. So you can improve your rates if you're at 2.25, 2.75
Sure.
margins to a much better deal. Plus you can re-amortize. So that's what I would be looking to do. If it's a business loan, it's only 10 years. If you're in it 5 or 6 years and you've been acquiring I have one guy, he does pest control companies. So he just rolls up and buys mom and pops.
Yeah.
And so he paid in, he started with like a 3 million loan, a little over 3 million. He's down to like, he owes 1.7 million, but I'm like, let's just re-amortize it and like
whack his payment a lot.
Right. Right. So, I mean, you can, there's ways to stay ahead, even if you feel like you're stuck. Cause a lot of people are stressed right now because their cash flow's killing them in the business right now, but you can refinance it. You just got to stay aware of what's going on.
Yeah. Small business loans. If you have something, again, you got to call, you got to reach out to the concierge of small business lending. Bo, you created a website just for one rental at a time, folks. Where do we send them?
OneRentalMeeting.com. One is spelled out.
That.
OneRentalMeeting.com.
You're amazing, man. I can't believe you did that for our audience. Thank you so much, folks. OneRentalMeeting.com. Go get your 15 minutes. Ask them all the juicy questions. Bo, thank you so much.
Thank you.